The doctor paced the room as he discerned that the young woman he'd been seeking for all his intellect had slipped from his palms before his deep views. Nicholas had revealed the details concerning Roesha's rhymes. From his convictions, her genotype and organic structure differed from a healthy individual. It coordinated with the exhibits he had gathered from her as a baby. At once, he made an inquiry for the hospital to be sealed. Her parents were being investigated by the surveillance officials who safeguarded the institution. He couldn't wait to see them after many years. He felt they knew Roe wasn't mortal. Nicholas had left messages to the President and the Counselor of Canada. As the head of the squadron in quest for a vaccine for the Dunnians, he had to announce every detail of his work to them. The doctor had underscored that he had come across an alien girl. He had offered the G5 members the fragments he'd collected from Roe, but nobody had believed him. Perhaps he could persuade them this time around. While pacing the room, the door to the office was flung wide open, and a doctor walked in. "Her parents would like to speak to you now," the woman announced. "Thank you, Dr. Felicia." He released a sigh and hurried out of the room, leaving the other paramedic wondering why he was so interested in this case. With long strides, he could reach an old office, which now served as an interrogatory room for the rhymes. After the disappearance of Roesha from the ward where she had been placed, her parents had been contacted. Her friends, Carl and Samantha, knew nothing of what was going on. They were still at the waiting room for visitors. He was about to push the glassy door open when his phone beeped. Not now! He snapped his lip and pulled it in his pocket. His heart skipped a pulse when he knew that Aiden Riverfire was the caller. He couldn't ignore the call of the representative, as he needed governmental backing on finding Roe. "Good evening, sir," Dr. Nicholas whispered. He moved away from the glass door to a corner where no one could listen to his call. "How sure are you it's the same girl you've always speculated about?" He went straight to the point. There was no time to beat around the bush. If they could find Roe, they could study her blood sample and see what it was about her that made her able to survive the Earth. Perhaps they could pacify Keith Sanda through Roe for the death of the children. "Her samples match what I found years back, I'm sure. She had a terrible horse fall. She'd been unconscious but somehow escaped from the hospital," he replied.